Well, we're back. We have some steel. This is quite thick. I don't know if this is 2mm or a bit more than that, but it's really solid stuff. This is going in there. Can you see what I'm pointing at? It's going in there. From there to the top, it should fit in exactly once I've wiggled it and moved it about. I'll be shaping to replace that brace, to weld it from there into this piece, going on a sort of an inverse curve, sort of slightly lower, so it fits in below the steel. Once that's welded in place solidly, I'll then remove that piece there, cut that out, and then start closing it up. But that should be the final stabilizer for this side. That side was solid, wasn't rusted away at all. But they are very different, and if I think about it, the passenger side is what drives in the gutter in England. So the gutter is where all the salt and brine runs from all the different road chemicals that get thrown in winter. So it's pretty obvious that some of that stuff, or more of that stuff, will end up on this side of the vehicle. But for now, that's a lot of repairing. But I'm hoping that once I've put this brace in, welded in solid, that I can then put that diagonal brace, if you want to call it that runs across there, rebuild that, put it back in place. Because I've been holding everything together, so everything is still in place. The geometry is good. And then we'll run it across, weld it into that brace, and then close up. Hopefully that's the end of this for the day, but I still have to remove all of this as well. That whole section is coming out, because if you look behind it, typically these amazing people that welded this together, you'll see rust, just plates over solid rust. They didn't cut a piece out, they literally just patched over the top of everything. And maybe that's what you do for a commercial vehicle. There you've got 3 levels, 3 layers of steel sitting there. Just incredible that people can bodge like that and charge people good money. But hey, we live a lie, I guess. Everyone teaches us to live a lie. So, back in a bit. Right, and we're back with some more. That's in, solid down there. Once I add the skin, these 3 will become one. Once I've put this piece in, which I've just made up, you see this is thick and heavy. Because the brace that was here, the little round brace, it was tacked in there with a couple of spot welds, but those had rusted away completely. So on this side, on the other side it was intact, on this side obviously I've got to kind of do something. Everything else is good, it's solid. But what I'm doing is I'm adding this. I've made up with a slight curve so it fits in there, and then it'll get welded in down there from the outside, and from the inside I'll be welding down there so that this is solid. Then I'll start making the skin up to complete this. First of all, that section, just to close in the brace, and then I'll take this section out, because that has to come down as well all the way up to there. Remove all of this and make up a new patch. This one, in theory, is just a soft curve, so it shouldn't be too difficult. There's a dent there. There's a dent there that I don't see on the other side, so I might take a hammer to this and just try and bang it out and pop it out again. But yeah, cut this section out, make up a new piece after I've cleaned up all this junk. But for now, tack this in. I'll use one of the most, along with magnets, these are probably the most indispensable tools you're going to find when you're making up this type of stuff. The trick is making it hold everything together in such a way that you don't sway. I might have the wrong tool as well. And I only brought the little one in. Over. Okay, so I have to unscrew this quite a bit. Like such. Right, let's see if we have success. Doesn't want to be held in position there like I want it, so I'll hold this by hand when I start the tacking. Tack the tops, and then I'm going to go outside and weld from the bottom and give that the full support that it needs first, and I'll come back and fill that in. I think that that's the answer. And obviously we'll do this in my usual style, no mask. Actually, let's put the goggles on because they'll splat. Hey, you moor bastard! That's quite interesting. There's current running through there. If you didn't realise that, so there's either something not right or something not right. Who knows? But for the moment, this is what I'm doing: is literally tacking this lot. Double check. I'll take this out because I don't need that. That's the answer there. So that's in position. Now we just need to get the bottom done. I'll also just tack it there for the hell of it. Thinking I may as well put this whole lot together in one. That's now sort of held in position and triangulated. My fancy goggles. Thanks, Andy. This is a really cool little system. There you go. Switched on. You can also remove the actual mask section and just use the goggles. That works really well in tight spaces. Even though this is not going to go anywhere. Running too close, I guess. gets hot at the tip, doesn't it? Right. Spots. There. I don't think this thing's going anywhere. I don't think that's going anywhere. That, once I've tacked it on the outside, well, I'll do a run. That is going to hold, it's not going to go anywhere. And then once I've put the plate over that and closed all of this in, I'll be a lot happier to finish that off. Getting there, bit by bit. I am quite happy, to be honest. Next job is to do that top section. Plate that comes vertically down, bends, inward and then curves down to meet up there. So we're going to run it along there, around that, and then across and up, and there's curves. So it'll come down, out, and curve down. But we'll get to it. That's what we've got. But rust converter in everywhere again, that surface exposed. I've basically just done very straight lines on this. This is actually a soft curve, so I might take the hammer and dolly and soften this up a little bit just now. But for the moment, this is the basic fit. So that'll get worked back in there. This end, I'm not sure if I'm going to cut this a bit wider, because I can do that. I've got space and I've got enough material. Cut it wide up to that position. Let's see what we do if we mark it. Marker is always a good idea, because I've basically, the one side is ready, this one needs to be cut out further. But if I do this, and I run this straight down here, this is approximate because obviously when you weld it moves about a bit, and that'll come straight across to here. No use me marking it really, but still this theoretically goes here, but it's not going to, because I'm going to cut it, I think I'll cut it high to join directly butt up to this piece, which is already good, solid. And then this section here, I'll cut some more of this out. Maybe not as much, just that. Something like that. Remove that piece. And this can be worked around and welded in there. There's obviously a gap, so if I split that there and I reduce that to fit in there, because that at this point needs to be cut there and tuck in there, so you can get a decent butt weld all the way around. And then that section may well be too short. I think it's going to be too short. In fact, it will be too short. So that means my original plan, which was to butt weld that up there and then just fill that little piece, may well be slightly compromised, because that's what I've got at the minute up to there. So if I cut that down there and across there, this is just to get this, because this is being replaced, this whole section is still being replaced. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, that helps nothing because the camera's pointed at the sky. Anyway, let's try that again. Right, so I've done some marking. I've cut some more of that plate. Everything has been given the rust oxidization type treatment. At the moment I folded that into a very basic shape. This should be a softer curve, so I might use the hammer and dolly to soften that up, or I might say screw it, but knowing me I'll probably end up softening it up a bit. The idea is, or was, and I think I'm going to be back to it, I was going to cut more of this out, and this piece, as I said, this is being replaced. All of this is getting new material. All of that's got to come out right down to there, and then across. I'll just make it a square, which is easier than going zigzag everywhere. So that'll be replaced, but first I need to solidify this section. Brace that. That's the brace obviously that I put in earlier on. That is rock solid from both sides now. That's not going anywhere this week. And that obviously stabilizes all of this as well when you load and overload. But in order to get that piece to curve around there, I'll be cutting it roughly there, or I thought I was, but it looks like I'm going to end up having to butt weld this side, patch up over there. That's a small patch, I can do that, that's not a problem, and then redo this, basically take it down there so that that piece recesses in there and fits, and then you have that section there fold down and be joined over there into that corner. The plan originally was, and I think I still might end up doing it, to remove that section so that I had one straight line and it looks the same. But the other side of the coin, of course, is literally keeping what's good already, because that's all solid. This is solid and it's welded on both sides as well. To run that and reduce this one, let me think what I'm saying here. To reduce, I'll bring this over. So then that's actually correct. That doesn't need a cut out. So then I will cut this piece shorter once I go to the back on the outside and just get a cut measurement, saying that I could probably do it over here as well. Let's see. Basically what you want is that height replicated roughly there. So then that mustn't do this. Let me do it the right way. Get back to this in a moment. Let's put this there. Put something in place here to keep this in position. Will this work? I don't know. Just try stuff. Hope that it works. Like you can see now, it's not working clearly. We'll figure it out. Oh, for goodness sake. Where's the magnets gone? I think the magnets are hidden them somewhere. The magnets would have worked well now. This little guy isn't going to do the job either, to be honest. Or maybe he is. Right. I'm going to go outside quickly and see if I can just get the inside of that marked. Of course, we've got black on black, which may be a problem as well. Be back in a bit. Well, I had my friend Mick come here. He's put a Jaguar V6 into a Rover P4 along with gearbox, etc. It's taken him about 1.5 years, 2 years to build. We managed to drill a hole through there, but we also spent good time just visiting, which is always nice. And then basically what I've done today is I've welded up bits, cleaned up. I'm just going to do some more of this rust converter over here where I'm going to be welding tomorrow. I've done the back of this already. And then I've shaped this into the shape that I want. There's again multiple curves. That one there I'll finish off tomorrow once I start welding it. I'll shape it in place. But this has actually come out really good. That will be shaped and welded in there tomorrow morning. Actually, no, there's no shaping, I'll just weld it in. But I'm kind of tired now, it's 7:30 in the afternoon, evening, whatever. But all the grinding and dirty work's done. I removed that other section that was over there at the bottom. And once again, that's what I find. Professional repair job, eh? thick rust on the inside between the two sheets, where obviously every time this thing is oxidized. So yeah, time for a shower, clean up. That's a door to Pandora's box. So yeah, finished for today. I think tomorrow morning I'll do that welding, bottom section, and then we can start on the front. That front radiator core support, as well as part of the front slam panel. The two front fenders both need welding and cleaning up as well, but that's it. I think I've had enough. These days get to be long with all the bashing and grinding, and it was pretty hot today. I don't know what the temperature is now. 7. There you go. That's 7:30 at night. So what's that, American 80 degrees, 26 degrees here. Beautiful day out. I think it's time for a shower and a shave. And of course this has been an incredible donor, bringing all this thick heavy material that I needed for the repairs. There's one more section which I'll use down this side, and that'll be to create that radiator core support. But yeah, done for the day. I think enough's enough. It's been a good day. We'll speak again.